welcome.
Susie.
Welcome to the podcast, episode 653. How is Sarah?
Sarah is fantastic.
Really?
I feel like it's fall now. It's my favorite season. You know this. And fall, this is the first time I've really gotten to experience the seasons changing in a place where seasons do that. Mm-hmm. Like fall season, the transition to fall.
Yeah.
Like leaves turning. This is a real thing in Colorado.
Yeah.
People go leaf peeping.
Peeping?
That's what they call it. Leaf peeping.
What?
Yeah, it's where the aspen trees change colors and they change beautiful colors. Like they go from this green to this like really like lime chartreuse green to then bright yellow and then this like really cool orangey yellow color and then they just fall off. And it happens real fast in like 2 weeks or something like that. And as you drive, my mom's here. So I took her, and because I have my stupid foot injury, I can't do anything fun. So I was like, would you like to go on a scenic drive? This is like all I can offer. And so I took her on this really beautiful drive through all these aspens. And we went to the highest auto road in North America.
Whoa.
Yes. Holy shit, it was high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I'm learning facts on this scenic tour that I didn't even know. The highest auto road so I imagine there's some road that's like a fire road or something like that that's higher. But this is the largest or the highest, at the highest elevation in all of North America. My mom was like, I thought it would be in Canada. And then I guess this is higher.
Well, and
I thought so too.
How was the view?
Whoa. Amazing. And there's also this strange feeling, even though, like driving in front of us, we were driving 20 miles an hour because there was a cement mixer in front of us the whole time.
Oh, man.
Even with the driving 20 miles an hour with the visual information cue that there's a cement mixer, like, don't worry, we're not going to fall off the side of this mountain. There's still this feeling, oh God, I might fall. Like that you have to like lean over a little bit. I'm kind of like leaning to the side because you just see down
How
into
far
this
is the
valley.
drop?
It's not necessarily a far drop as much as it is like you see miles down deep into this valley.
Yeah.
And so it looks like if you were to slip off the side, you would never stop rolling. Like that's
oh my God.
It feels like, where is the end of this? And the whole time we were just thinking like, man, my mom just was like, that Donner Party. The whole time. It's like, imagine. Like, look at this. You can't even cut through this like with anything.
Yeah.
How did people even man it? Well, they hate each other. Yeah.
Right. That is awesome. I'm familiar with, of course, the, fetishizing of the foliage.
Yeah.
But I am not familiar with the terminology leaf peeping.
Yeah, I think that is what I've heard. It's just like, and then I took a screenshot of some like local Colorado like Instagram account that had the dates of when the trees changed.
I've already checked it myself.
You have you?
Yeah. The peak. You want to know the peak?
Is this what old people do?
Yes.
I
like
think it
bird
is.
watching.
This is it. I was like, it's happening.
Peeping.
It's happening. It's happening. Here we are. I'm like, I've like marked my calendar. Like these are the dates. This is when in like Crested Butte, and this is when in like Vail. It's gonna. And it was really cool as we would drive west into the mountains, the leaves would start to turn more and more yellow.
Yeah.
And then when we came back around and moved east, they would like it was
that
like
Mother
ombre
Nature.
from
She
yellow.
is something.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And what I can't get over too is the tree line.
Oh,
you know that line where, and it is a distinct line. Like, it's not, a few trees can grow up here and not, no, it's like, here's where trees can grow and here's where nothing fucking grows.
That's
and
really weird to me.
I can't, I've been,
Does
the
it
whole
taper
drive.
off though?
That's what I'm saying. No, it doesn't. It's like a line.
But what about leading up to the line? No tapering.
Thick tree. The only thing that you see different, the height of the trees.
Okay.
They're smaller.
That is so fascinating.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and we're old. You're right.
100%.
We're like psyched about the tree line.
Like psyched. And then Eli and I were on a walk up in this kind of area and zone. And I'm like, wow. I'm so annoyed with him. I'm like, look at how cool these trees are. Like, these are like small versions of that one right over there. And he goes, did you know that the military owns all these trees? And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, they're infantries.
Stop.
Eli? How dare you?
Okay.
With the dad joke.
I was going to look past the whistling problem. But
are we in competition for who's going to be the most dad-like? Like who has?
Yes. It's
like
a perfect match, though. I will say.
Oh God, that made me laugh because he really set me up for it. I was like convinced, and he let me go for like 30 seconds. Like I was like, I got to know about this. Is there something happened? Like Colorado, this is weird. You know, they got that weird airport that everybody talks about. I don't know what they're doing in Colorado. We should definitely look into this. My brain went to a million places, and it was a stupid dad joke.
Was he really excited that it worked?
Yeah, but did a good job containing it. Like I would have ruined it. I would have been like. Say it. It's like he was better. He's good with the delivery, and I think I'm his perfect audience.
You guys are a perfect match. That's all I know.
We really are. It's great. It's fantastic. Wonderful. So yes, we've been doing some leaf peeping. You are going to be meeting him soon.
I can't believe
we are going to be coming to Susie's comedy showcase.
Dun, 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 dun. For real, though, I can't emphasize this enough. Low bar, okay? Low bar lifestyle.
Sus.
For real.
Do you understand? Did you not hear the military infantry joke that went over?
What if I was like, can I use that?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, well, just for real, though, tell him, 10 years I took off, okay?
Susie.
I'm not even a funny person, okay? No,
okay, I can't. Wink, wink, wink. We'll keep the bar real low. We'll be like...
excited that you're coming.
I cannot wait to see you. I cannot wait to give you a sweet, sweet braid. I cannot wait to see our braid candy people there.
Yes, Mo's
I just realized, oh my gosh, the people listening to this right now, I also am going to be seeing. Mo's coming?
Mo's coming. Dawn's coming. Corey is coming.
I love these ladies.
Of course, Splats lives in Chicago, so she'll be there.
Oh my gosh.
Anybody that is coming to the show, we cannot wait to see you.
Good thing we're having a Chicago meetup because these are
the greatest hits.
Ladies.
Yeah,
greatest hits.
I don't know if there's any tickets left, but you can try and see. It's challengemania.live is where you buy the ticket.
I need a ticket for this? Shit, I gotta go buy
I think Scott will let you in.
You think Scott will let me in?
Yeah, I think you're good.
Think you got
you're
one for Eli?
Entourage, you guys.
I am. Yes, I did say I'm going to come there and Eli and I both have the loudest laugh and the most distinctive laugh.
Yeah.
He's louder and more distinctive than me. When we were at a dinner party on Saturday, and he and I, we just like to laugh and we like a good joke. So somebody said something funny and Eli and I are over in the corner talking to somebody and we both let out our regular laughs. The entire party, I could see all of the heads in the party turn and go, "Oh, what's so funny? What are they laughing at?"
Wow,
because we are loud. We are the loud laughers. So
uproarious! This is exciting.
So get ready to just hear all of us.
I'm counting on it.
Super loud. I'll just smoke a funny cigarette before, and then everything will be funny.
Well,
okay. Bad grass.
Maybe also you should pop a little bit of a ritual protein shake or a vitamin.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Oh, Suze, I got a whole announcement to make about this because Eli, we had a whole thing. So Eli was formerly using another vitamin brand that he didn't know.
Yeah, he didn't know.
He, in the mornings, would take his vitamins, walk over to the corner, hold the bottle away from him, open the bottle.
Yep.
Then,
because they're disgusting.
Then close the bottle, then walk back over and put it on the shelf. And I was like, after seeing this 4 times, I'm like, what are you doing?
What's happening?
And he's like, you have no idea how disgusting these smell.
Yeah.
I cannot even have the bottle in the kitchen. If you smell this, you would want to throw up. And of course now I have to smell it. And I was like, don't you worry. I have the cure for this. I will not only make it so that you don't have any gross taste afterwards, but you will... This will give you everything you need. You will actually enjoy it, and you will become like excited
and then
to
you'll take them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now he is, which is great because in the mornings he goes, "Here are your ritual vitamins." Hands me my container as he takes his container. I only had the women's one, so he's taking the women's one, but that's fine.
Okay, well we need to get him signed up because I mean they have men's, they have kids, prenatal, postnatal, all the natals.
Yes. And he was like, you have to talk about the smell thing on your podcast. Everybody needs to know that it's a real thing.
It's real.
Like, okay. So, Eli, this is me talking about your experience on the podcast.
Yes. And they have plant-based protein powder, which I'm sure he would love as well. We'll have to introduce it to him. Yeah. And it's vanilla and really great before or after your workout or just as a little snack in the middle of the day or in the evening. Are you ready to shake up your protein ritual? Our listeners get 10% off during your first 3 months at ritual.com/braincandy. Ritual even offers a money-back guarantee if you're not 100% in love. Visit ritual.com/braincandy today for 10% off your first 3 months. You can try any and all of those things. Love it.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. You're so funny that you no matter what I bring up, you have a story about it.
Always. Well, because they're things that I use in my regular life.
Right.
So, and now that I got somebody else, just the other day I saw Quip toothbrushes in the screenshot of one of my friends' bathrooms, and I was like, good stuff.
Yes.
So yeah. Okay. What do I want to talk to you about today? What do I want to talk to you about? I'll start with some bad news. Not bad news, but difficult news. We'll call it that, maybe.
Yeah.
I read an article that talked about the average cost of medical bills for sexual assault victims.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, we're talking, these are just emergency room visits of people who sought out medical services after a sexual assault. This does not take into consideration mental health care afterwards. Wow. This does not take into consideration anybody who did not seek out emergency medical treatment afterwards. In 2019, this was when this data was collected, there were around 112,844 emergency department visits that were coded for sexual violence. 88.3% of those being women. And on average, the emergency department charges were $3,551 for each victim. If the person was pregnant, that number was $4,553.
That is so disturbing, and I'm embarrassed to say I never thought about it.
Is it? And it is most of the, I shouldn't say most of the time, often the victim who is paying for this.
I'm sure.
It can be absolutely devastating, especially if you
that's cost prohibitive
for a million reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even knowing that and knowing that, think about the length that I was going to try to give myself my own medical treatment for my stupid ankle to try to avoid. Could you imagine if you had the other layer of shame or people not believing you to then think, well, I don't want to pay for, why on earth would I pay for the costs of medical treatment if, let me tell you just some of the things that are included in this, what is in the cost. So the things that we've never thought about before.
Yeah.
If you're wondering, how the heck does the medical bill get up to that high? First of all, emergency room care just to begin with.
Yeah. And sorry for my ignorance, but is this something you have to do at the emergency room, or can you go to urgent care or your PCP?
You could go to your urgent care or PCP, but however, the things that they're treating them for, this one was the most horrendous. One of them is laceration repair. Okay. Right. Isn't that heavy? Like,
yeah,
it like makes me want to cry. In 1994, there was a Violence Against Women Act that passed that mandated that the victims of sexual assault not be charged for any evidence gathering, because before that they were.
Oh
Hello.
my. Okay.
So other treatments they are charged for, and they include emergency contraception, laceration repair, prevention of sexually transmitted diseases, HIV infection, and diagnostic testing for anything that may be done. And that's just treating things that are specifically for sexual assault, not any violence that came with that.
It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
What do you think they do for laceration repair? Is that stupid? Like,
stitches.
No.
Like, think about it.
Internally? I mean, is that stupid? Oh, or external. I see.
Yeah.
I just got that. Okay. Wow, that's horrific.
And
yeah.
Oh, that's
God.
why I said I'll start with this one, because I think it's an important thing too. You know, when I read this, I felt like I don't know. It's I don't know what the solution is, but I just feel like it's important for people to know, even when, you know, I think about like being privileged enough to have money to donate to any organization.
Mm-hmm.
And like knowing like where you'd want extra funds to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's got to be some. When you think that we're like giving scholarships away at these like big old universities, like you hear, what is it like? I don't know. I can't remember what college, but had like $1 billion in like back.
Oh yeah,
like
that
bank,
was an Ivy League one. I remember.
Yes,
yeah.
I can't remember what it was, but I think about like all that money is just fucking sitting there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, this is.
That's so disturbing. And like, isn't it the case that most rape kits just sit on a shelf because then that costs money to use them for evidence or testing or whatever they have to do?
And do you remember when we were talking about Law and Order last week, and you were talking about the actual number of cases that went to trial?
Yeah.
So unless that case goes to trial,
well, yeah, because there was another separate article about how a lot of women have seen Law and Order Special Victims Unit and think that that's how they'll be treated when they report their rape or their assault. And then that is not what happens typically. And so it's like re-traumatizing then when either you're not believed or you're dismissed or diminished. And it is just, then when people say like, well, why didn't you report it whenever you say that you've been assaulted? It's like, about 1 million reasons.
There are so many reasons.
Wow.
This goes unreported.
I'm glad you told me, because I hate when I fail to consider like the costs or burden of stuff like that. It just never crossed my mind.
Well, think about, I thought so much about that with the documentary that we watched for Documentary Club, Crip Camp, where, thinking about just what it takes to, as somebody who worked at a summer camp.
Yeah.
I think about what it takes when we have a camper wake us up in the middle of the night and say, I have to go to the bathroom. And it's like, oh, for Pete's sake, okay, let's go. Da-da-da. Could you imagine what it's like? You don't think about the ways that people who have a different experience and who have gone through different struggles, like the burdens that they face and the challenges in so many different ways. So I think hearing these kind of things
it's always a good reminder.
Yeah. And
that is insane. That is a lot of money.
Yeah, those numbers were no bueno. Okay, that was a not as exciting fact, but I do have, let's see, what else do I have to talk about today? Ooh, yeah. I read this weird article, or I heard it on, what is that show I love? Wait, don't tell me.
Uh-huh.
One of their quiz questions was like, men are doing this treatment, this beautifying treatment that costs up to $70,000.
Is it where they get taller?
Yes.
Yes.
Susie, I did not know that this was a real thing.
Isn't it crazy?
Holy crap. One of the comedians on there was like, if I were a man, my legs aren't the part of me that I would consider lengthening. But it wouldn't be the first thing I would think about lengthening. But
I know that that's a funny joke to say, but I think that for a lot of men,
I think
they would much rather be taller than have a bigger wiener.
This is, I don't want to say like that sounds crazy to me because like I understand, the length that people go to, pun intended or not intended, the length that people will go to feel comfortable in their own skin and to feel like they are, I don't know.
Oh yeah, heck, obviously I don't judge. I mean, I'm all for it if that's what you want, but it is such that surgery is a real doozy. Like it's not easy. And it can add up to 6 inches. But they said one of the things that gives you very strange proportions, which makes sense. Wait, what does that mean?
Is that it looks that, especially
like
naked,
Slenderman or something.
Well, when you have so what the surgery does is a medical device is implanted onto your femur.
Right.
And then slowly over time, which just sounds like...
It does sound disturbing.
Like, do you remember growing pains?
Yes.
Those things kept me... I grew so fast, my legs felt like they were ripping apart sometimes. Like the inside, my bones hurt. I couldn't sleep at night.
Maybe? I'm sorry.
What?
I think I'm just in comedy mode because as soon as you said Growing Pains, I started thinking of that theme song from Growing Pains. And then I thought about how they had a character named Boner. And I'm like, what? Maybe that's why he's named Boner. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There's nothing better than that giggly mood when your mind goes. I think I kept Eli up 2 hours later than I should have because I could not stop laughing. And he said it was so funny when you were trying to go to sleep and I could just feel your body
the vibration
twitch with laughter, like trying to hold it in.
What were you laughing about? The damn infantries?
No, that would have been funny. No, I was laughing because I'll tell you the whole thing. I was laughing because Eli has grown out a very almost looks like what looks like a novelty mustache. This guy has such a big mustache and like can grow one and like is just, I love it. He looks like a 70s cop, like a firefighter or something. Yeah. Like it's great. And we're like, how can we work this into a Halloween costume? We might go as Mario and Luigi. That would be hilarious.
That would be.
And so he's got this whole mustache growing, and then just like out of nowhere, he like looks at me and like half joking was like, what if I grew a soul patch? Like, what would you think about a soul patch? And then that made me laugh so much because I was attempting I need to do some personal grooming, some waxing on my down there area.
Yeah.
And when you have a leg injury, you can't really get into some of the positions
you had a vagina soul patch?
So that's what made me laugh.
Oh my God.
Because of the limitations of my leg bending, I couldn't stop laughing because I was like, speaking of soul patch, it looks right now like my vagina has a soul patch.
Oh my God.
And I couldn't stop laughing. And so like, that to me was the funniest thing in the whole world. And then like, I can't believe he wasn't like, well, let me see it.
He didn't even demand evidence?
Because it was like, so late at night, and I was just sitting there laughing to myself.
Just had the case of the giggles.
So don't worry, you saw the next morning. But yes, I definitely. But
okay, we need to stay on track. What the fuck were we talking about?
No idea what I was talking about before this. Oh yeah, growing pains. Okay. Right. Getting your legs. Okay, so they attach. This was actually really nice that you were the one who took us down that nice path. It's really a change of like role reversal for this. It was fun. That was real fun.
Sorry.
Okay, so they attach these medical devices to the femur that stretch it over time.
Unbelievable.
But I don't from what I hear, you can't even stand on your legs until this is done. There's a long process. And oh my gosh.
Woo, what do people do then? Let's say you have to go to work. What do they do? Wheel themselves in and be like, "Oh, I can't walk for a while?
I don't. I mean,
because I wonder how long it takes.
Let's see. Does it say after the bone procedure? Months? Healing. Okay, it's 3. A cast is placed on the legs for 3 to 4 weeks. The healing is complete in 8 to 12 weeks, and then they can go back to regular activity at that time.
So, like, they're wearing 2 casts, one on each
No,
leg?
that is... Look, no, that is for bone... Oh, that was for bone growth restriction. For bone growth lengthening, the person will spend a few days in the hospital. Frequent visits to the healthcare provider are needed to adjust the lengthening device. The amount of time the lengthening device is used depends on the amount of lengthening needed. Physical therapy is needed to maintain normal range of motion. Special care for the pins and screws holding the device is needed to prevent infection.
They must be tall as soon as they leave the hospital, Sarah. Because...
Oh, my God. The amount of time it takes the bone to heal depends on the amount of lengthening. Each centimeter of lengthening takes 36 days of healing. Wow. How many inches are in how many centimeters are in an inch?
I have no idea. 2.5.
What?
I made that up.
You're definitely making that up.
I did.
It feels like way more.
It feels like way more.
In an inch. Whoa! 2.54! What? Susie, that's so
Things we got right!
Yeah! Oh, that was fun. So for every centimeter, it takes 36 days. So for 1 inch... We're talking, what's 36 times 2.5?
Well, that's going to put, that pushes the limit.
You're on your own there.
74.
Calculator. 2.5 times
4.
76. Close enough. It's about, more, like 80 something.
80 something.
So 80 for 1 inch.
See, because
and if you're growing up to 6 inches, we're looking at well over a year.
I mean, and that's what, when I've read about this, they say that, like, they try to play it off like like it's a monolith, but they generally don't want to admit that they had the surgery. And so I don't know how that they're doing all this with all that time involved and then not saying why they're immobilized.
Yeah. I think, there is a lot of shame around men's
anything with vanity.
Body yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of not fair.
It isn't. It's seen as like a feminine trait to care about what you look like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, like the gays are allowed to, but not gay guys are allowed to, but straight guys.
I do want to mention that this procedure is not just for vanity. That it can be done for somebody who had a trauma that resulted in a shorter limb or a lengthened limb and they need it to match, or it could be, they do like bone growth restricting when maybe one bone is growing faster than the other, and in a case where you have,
I'm sure that's true, but because of course, but it's sort of like when people say that they got a nose job because they had a deviated septum. Like, sometimes that's true.
Yeah. So funny. My ex-husband, I told him the whole time we were together, I'm like, you have a deviated septum. You have a deviated septum. And he was like, no, I don't. He got diagnosed with deviated septum after we got it was funny because like our medical insurance was like still the same for a while. So I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
things we got right again. I mean, we're on a roll today. My God.
Sometimes. Oh, okay. What other stories and interesting things do I have to tell you?
Well, first, let me tell you what I have to tell you, which is that Chime is an awesome company, especially for people who are trying to build their credit, improve their credit score. I know how stressful that can be. I know how anxiety-inducing that can be. With Chime's Credit Builder Visa credit card, you can start to build credit with your own money. They report your payments to credit bureaus to help you build your credit over time. And their members see an increase of 30 points on average with no annual fees, large security deposits, or credit checks to apply. So start your credit journey with Chime. Sign up only takes 2 minutes and doesn't affect your credit score. Get started at chime.com/braincandy. That's chime.com/braincandy. Here's the fine print. The Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card is issued by Stride Bank N.A. pursuant to a license from Visa USA Chime checking account and $200 qualifying direct deposit required to apply for the secured Chime Credit Builder Visa credit card. Regular on-time payment history can have a positive impact on your credit score. Impact to score may vary, and some users' score may not improve. Out-of-network ATM withdrawal fees may apply, except at MoneyPass ATMs in a 7-Eleven or any Allpoint or Visa Plus Alliance ATM.
I read another article about this was really interesting. It was the world's oldest species, which is interesting because didn't we talk about that type of shark that was like 1 bajillion years old?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The Greenland shark or something like that?
Yes.
So that one lives really long, but I think that might be something like maybe not all of the species has that average, because this article I read talked about one of the oldest species on Earth is the bowhead whale that can live to be 211 years old and beyond. And why that's even interesting, why like large animals that live to be very old is interesting, because of something called Peto's paradox. In most species, humans for one, the older an animal lives and the larger an animal is, the more likely they are to have cell mutation that turns into some sort of disease, most often cancer.
Right.
So there's this really interesting medical phenomenon, genealogical phenomenon, we'll call it, called Peto's paradox. And
how do you spell that?
Peto.
Okay.
Peto's and then paradox, you know.
Yeah, I got that.
Like a paradox. Kidding. That's not
We've got off the rails. It's okay.
We have. We're not even drinking. It must be Susie's cold medicine.
That's so true.
And my just regularness. So this whole paradox is a phenomenon that we observe in animals like whales and elephants, who live to be much older than even like we do, but they don't get cancer. Yeah. And so they're looking at what is it, and now that we can study genome and we can study like genes and do all of this like comparative biology, we're learning like where it is and what genes are the reasons for this.
Great.
And so there's a gene that these animals have, that certain species have, and they can also tell what species have them because they can see where on the evolutionary branch of like whales, these whales branched off, and they can compare the genes of different whales. Like I think they were called like right whales was the other one that they branched off of, but they can compare those whales with these whales and see what are the differences physiologically, what are the differences in their genomes. And there's a gene called CDKN2C. They really need to get better with the gene names.
Yeah, God.
Like, make it fun at least. Remember, like the spider named after Leonardo DiCaprio? We're here for that kind of stuff. The letters, at least make it like C3PO or something fun that we can remember.
Yeah, geez.
Scientists are like rolling their eyes at us right now. But don't worry, we'll talk about this.
We're very busy with important things. We can't be silly.
Right, we have no time for that. So this is linked to a slowing down of the division of cells. So this is a gene that these animals have that slows down how fast their cells divide and multiply. So ours do it every 7 years. You know, everybody says like your taste buds change every 7 years and like all your cells turn over. So this is been very advantageous in slowing down any sort of cancerous cells from dividing and multiplying and spreading throughout the body. But the part that made me giggle about this, like, it's funny, this headline was the thing that caught my attention, but the rest of the article that talked about this Peto's paradox was like really interesting. The negative side effect that this had, that this gene has on this type of whale, is that it makes them have teeny tiny testicles.
Huh.
Which is funny that it was somebody's job to measure whale balls.
That is.
Think about how big of a ruler you need to measure a whale testicle. They should have said in this article. I wish they would have said that. They just talked about, I mean, you know, like, oh, wait. I do have the answer. Let's play a guessing game, Susie.
Okay.
How many pounds?
Oh, it's by
does
weight.
a
Jesus
bow?
Christ.
Oh, and remember, this is small in comparison to the right whales, which are their close relatives.
Oh my God. So this is by weight. How
Correct.
much does a whale testicle weigh?
Well, this is definitely going
how
in
much
our
do you think
Instagram
a human
question.
one weighs?
Excellent question.
Well, because
I think it's
like
light.
Okay. It's like a water balloon, kind of like whatever weight that is.
You think it's like that's? I feel like it's more
heavy?
like a.
I'm gonna have to weigh Adam's ball. I feel like it's important.
Could you imagine? I know your little bakery scale that you got in the kitchen. You just flop his
Your
testes just
bakery
right on
scale.
there.
Stop it.
Make sure you zero out the.
Yeah, what if I was like, that Stamps.com digital scale is really paying off?
That's exactly what I use as my kitchen scale.
Okay, let's say a human testicle is like
I'm Googling
1/3 of a pound. That's what I would estimate. Do you think that's too much?
I think that is way too much.
Get out of here.
The average weight
Didn't you ever
of
like
a human testicle.
This is great.
Now, is it one testicle or is it both?
Well,
Wow. It's very small. Very, very light.
what does it say?
It's barely the like I've bought more weed than this. Like that's how light it is.
Great.
And whenever anything is measured in ounces, that's
What is it,
exactly
like
what my mind
4
goes to.
ounces?
Not even 1 ounce. 0.8.
That is not possible.
Ounces.
That
Suze.
is what like a first class letter.
In humans, each testes weigh about, so double it. We're talking about, it's about 25 grams. So 50 grams is what I would imagine if they're the same weight.
What if I've only been with men with like really big balls?
Just heavy balls.
And I had
Maybe
no
should ask
heavy
him get his
balls.
prostate checked out?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
it's
to talk to him about
0.35 to
this.
0.5 ounces.
Okay,
That's
0.5.
not a
oh,
lot.
0.5 ounces? That I thought you were saying 0.5 pound. That is so light. I can't
Ounces.
accept it.
That's why I'm like, that's
Are
like.
they including the liquid in there, or is this just like the fucking
the
skin or
liquid in there,
something?
She says. I think that it.
I have serious questions here about every area of my life. Okay.
I mean, let me tell you, the Google search average weight of a human testicle gives you some very hilarious other people searched for, like you may also want to search for, why do my balls feel huge? These are great. How do I measure my balls?
Stop.
How long does
What
it
is the
take for a
answer to
man's
that?
balls to fill back up? This is hilarious.
Fill back up.
Fill back up. Let's see what it says.
Good
Whoa. This is fun. We're learning a lot about dicks in this episode. More about testes. It says your body produces fresh sperm every day. Your sperm supply gets replenished at least every 64 days.
Okay.
Unless you are a bowhead whale or whatever they're in which case.
Okay.
So think about that. That's how many grams.
Now I'm really confused because I would have said.
This is going to throw you off so much. This will not help you.
I guess I was going to say 10 pounds, but clearly that's an overestimate. If men's... what?
The right whale with the really big balls.
Yeah.
Regular size balls. Their testicles weigh 2,205 pounds. The
That
bowhead
cannot
whales,
be!
The bowhead whales, 441 pounds.
Wait,
It's
the
like
regular is 2,000?
2,205 pounds. That's a big ball.
am gobsmacked. I truly am!
You can to think that it would not be out of the question for somebody to be squished under the testes of a whale. Death by balls.
That is 1 ton ball.
That is a 1-ton ball. Ew. Think about. Think about
what is load?
Yes.
Yeah, that is.
I do
truly
not want to Google that.
Well, his sperm must be as big as like a salmon. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, what if you just see it? Like, that's actually another good question. Does the size of the sperm increase with the size of the... What? I don't know. What is sperm... Susie?
Stop.
What? This is very... That's an actually good question.
I'm so disturbed.
What is the answer to that?
Like, are the sperm still microscopic?
How large is whale sperm? They're going to think I'm thinking of a sperm whale.
Oh, that's true.
Which they are. If humans... Okay, somebody else asked this question. If human sperm are microscopic, then are blue whale sperm larger? Okay, no. I don't know.
You thought someone else would have asked that? No.
They did.
No.
Sperm sizes vary between species, but it's nothing to do with how big the animal is. Sperm and ova are different sizes due to competition between males and females. Sperm are basically parasiting, big, immobile, nutrient-laden ova. I think they're still small.
Think of how much sperm is in there then. How many of those little guys? Oh, holy mackerel. Literally.
Whoa! Proportionally, the biggest sperm is from a kind of fruit fly. It is longer by several times the male fly's own body. What?
How is that possible?
I'm going to have to do a deep dive on semen after this, and that is...
It's the funniest thing you've ever said.
And do you still call it semen? No, you don't. You call it sperm. What do you call it when it's from another animal?
I'm going to have to do a deep dive on semen.
Well, we're talking about whales, okay? What else?
I truly, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know the answer to that. We need a biologist on here.
Do we need a biologist or a marine biologist?
Yeah.
Guys. Maybe.
Wow.
I don't know how to make sense of any of this.
Me neither. This is interesting. There's more to uncover in that story. We'll hear about that next time on the Brain King podcast.
Holy heck, Sarah. That was... Yeah. I'm drained. I'm emotionally drained.
We learned so much. The size of whale testes. How they live longer.
God.
That paradox that makes them...
I just have so many questions about, like, human balls now. And how they could be so light.
They do feel like they weigh more than that.
More than a first class letter. Which is 1 ounce.
You don't even have to put 2 stamps on that thing.
Right. That's why I'm like, is the liquid included? Because if I tried to weigh that and send it, it would cost more than that. At least
so funny.
$2 or something.
Funny. Yeah.
Wow. Somebody needs to help us big time. You know what? Okay, this reminds me of something. What do you think about how ever since we started our spin-off Things We Got Wrong, it's almost like we have invited people to tell us how wrong we are, which on one hand is what we wanted, but on the other hand, I don't like it. Because every so often it's just like an opinion.
Right.
I'm like, that's not what we're
that's
doing.
what you have. There's a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Opinion... We can't be, you can't ever be wrong on that. I can go back on that. I can change it.
Yes.
I can give you an update on my opinion.
Yeah.
You can give me new information
to make you change your mind.
My opinion.
Yeah.
Totally. But facts are facts. We're going to
Yeah. And I also want to specify that this only applies to Brain Candy episodes, not, things I say out in the wild or on Instagram.
It's more like if you guys came and said, actually, Sarah, the weight of a whale's ball is really about 70 pounds. And I'd be like, oh, okay, I get that. It's not. It is 441.
So,
but
I just want you to temper your enthusiasm with telling us how wrong we are all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they seem a little too into telling us.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Saying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I was shocked to find out how many people's cats fart, though. That was a real...
Holy crud! Or how many dog... Shout out to dog people. Apparently you guys are our audience.
That's our audience. Dog people.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No idea.
I thought it would be a close race. It wasn't.
It was not. Dogs won by a landslide.
I do wonder, how many of those people are dog owners.
We should have a follow-up question. Yes.
Yeah, anyway, just something to think about.
I do have one more fun story for you.
Tell me.
I loved this. This is an article I read in the example. I don't know what's happening in my mind. This is an article I read in the Atlantic, and I feel like everyone has had the experience of this. I myself have many examples. That's what I was thinking. It's an article called "Why Do Adults Still Dream About School?"
Oh, yes, I read this. I'm so glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you about this. Okay, tell them what the article says, and then we'll talk about it.
So the article talks about how we all tend to have reoccurring dreams, or often, even as adults, we have these reoccurring dreams where we are in school, or everybody has that. And it's
anxiety dream.
Yes. And it's odd that we have these dreams regardless of how long we've been out of school.
Yeah.
With almost everything else, you tend to dream about the things that you experience, what's in your environment, what's you could be out of school for years and people still have these dreams. It really doesn't happen with much else. And so they were looking at and I kind of talk about sometimes clients will come in and they'll talk about dreams that they had. And so people kind of want to look at those dreams, analyze their dreams. We can talk about and I try to tell people, rather than focusing on the content of the dream, focus instead on the feeling about the dream.
Good.
And that, it's we've kind of talked about this on the podcast, or on this podcast before, about, when I felt like I wasn't able to communicate my feelings, my needs in past relationships, that I'll have nightmares. I wake up and I feel like, it's funny, often my dreams will take place in the challenge house.
Wow.
Yeah. The three places my dreams take place most often: challenge house, and I've talked about this before, challenge house, at camp, International Space Station.
Stop it.
We've definitely talked about this before. That I have this fear, my nightmare. It's often
the
being
nightmare.
trapped up in, and it's that feeling of there's no escape, or you're so that is where a lot of those kind of nightmares take place. But
that is so wild.
To get back, why do people dream about school?
Yeah, okay.
The thing that they were able to identify, and what is this feeling? The feeling is this being judged by an authority figure. And what was super cool, that this researcher, I think it was a researcher at Harvard University, who talked about, Deidre Barrett. She wrote this book called Pandemic Dreams. Oh, I want to read that, about how dreams changed during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And she said it's interesting that if you were a child who auditioned, if you were a musician or you played an instrument when you were a child, instead of having dreams about school, you'll have dreams about your auditions.
Yep.
So it's really the first time we were publicly judged or scrutinized, or we were being kind of
put on the spot.
Yeah, put on the spot, specifically by an authority figure.
Uh-huh.
And so that feeling is what can often come up, that same feeling of being put on the spot by an authority figure. If you think anybody at work has a boss who maybe called them out for something, or you have to do a presentation in front of a group at work or anything like that, your brain is going to pull up a similar time where you felt like your first memories of being judged by an authority figure. And
your recurring school dream, is it the one they described where you have the final exam to a class that you like had forgotten to go to all semester or something, and then you have to take the exam. Is that what yours is, or what is yours? Naked in front of, or
I don't really have school dreams. It's only those three. It's camp.
Oh, well, why would camp be that way for you?
They're not bad dreams necessarily. They're just like the location that the dream takes place.
Okay.
The bad dreams are usually
what are your anxiety
International Space Station and the challenge.
That
and the challenge kind of makes sense. The authority figure being judged by like being scrutinized by anybody watching.
Yours are so much more macro because it's the whole world watching you, either on the challenge or the space station.
Yeah.
That's even
worse. The space station one is a feeling of being alone and trapped.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
It feels almost like, and I've also had a similar one of being like scuba diving and being stuck in a cave where you're like alone and trapped. And you run out of resources or something like that. It's got to be like a panicky I'm alone feeling, or like I'm handling this on my own, or something like that, which is probably not true.
Oh, that is totally interesting.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You're isolated and scared, and the world depends on you right now.
Yeah, totally. That is 100% it. And not like the world, like international, like there's pressure from multiple nations. Like, yes. Like, yes. Oh
my God.
What about you?
Mine is the one that they described. And so I was so excited to hear their explanation for it. Although I left the article feeling dissatisfied.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Why do you
part of it is that they're just guessing. And that's the thing that bothers me about the dream interpretation stuff, is that like you have to, it's just a guess and there's no way to test it. It's completely unscientific.
But if again you go for feeling.
Yeah, that's a helpful tip you just
That'll
provided.
help.
Yeah.
Because if you think about, okay, when did I feel like this before?
Yeah.
How did I respond to that?
Yeah.
What's a healthier way? How could I choose to respond to that as I'm waking up, I'm moving through my day. What is it that I need to tell myself? Maybe the same kind of thing that your parent would have felt good for a parent to tell a child when they were in school. Also even checking the box of do I need to be prepared? Do I have my materials? And if you can just check those boxes of the things that kind of making you feel anxious, then I think that is a way to alleviate maybe some of those feelings and to, I don't know, get rid of that dream. At least not have it happen, like not have the reoccurring one that happens over and over. Because it's telling you to address a feeling.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head too, because I know people often say, because I'm a worrier and I get anxious, and people say, well, you got to let it go because, anxiety doesn't really do you any favors. But it can if it helps you think what could happen and how can I like plan for it. Some things you can control.
Yes.
And so
it's the what's in my control, what's out of my control.
Yeah. Like leading up to the comedy thing, I'm very nervous. I wake up every night nervous about that dumb comedy show. And so that means I have to be prepared.
Yes.
If you just sit with the anxiety, well, that's no good.
Right. Absolutely. That it's telling you to do something. So you have to, but also you have to tell your brain that you are doing something.
Right.
You have to like have that Yes. And you have to say, hey girl, I know that we're a little anxious right now. This is totally normal. In fact, you're just excited and maybe a little nervous in the same way you would be for a first date or for like going skydiving or doing anything like that. That's what this is. And let's go through the things that you could be worried about. Are you prepared? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have supporters? Yes. Do you
Does it matter? No.
No. Exactly.
Like if you fail?
Yes. Is it good? The end of the world if anything went wrong? No. Do you still have a whole bunch of people who love you? Yes. So if you could do that, you just have to tell yourself and then you have to say it enough.
Yeah.
Listen to this, guys. This is I watch it happen every single day as a therapist. And I love when I see people do this. Our bodies give us cues. Say it to yourself enough to where you go like this. That's it. Then you'll know if you need to keep, and sometimes it takes doing something like some like vagus nerve stimulation where you even like just give yourself a little squeeze, or you like, you know how somebody gives you a good hug and then afterwards you go,
yes.
That is what that is the like that surrendering in a way of that resistant mind to the wise mind. And I feel like when the wise mind's like, girl, I got you. That body goes, okay.
And that is a skill that you can develop. It's not like you either have it or you don't.
Right. You just have to keep doing it. And then listen for the cue. Listen for when your body does the big sigh, or even you might recognize it in somebody else. If you're a parent and you have a child and you talk to them and you see the big sigh, that you know. And that is the moment, and I want you to remember that moment for yourself, that we need to be the loving parent to ourselves, to give ourselves that big sigh and that like surrendering.
What is
beautiful
your fear? Like, do you have any fears like day to day that give you anxiety? Like, what would maybe keep you up at night? Like, you know, a public speech or something like that. Do you have any of those?
Yeah, I have a fear that I've forgotten to do something important.
Yeah.
Like, and that,
like you missed a deadline maybe or something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's that what I really beat myself up about is consequences for that later. Like if I missed the date to send in when my taxes were due or something.
Yeah.
And then I got to pay a stupid fucking fine for it later. Or like I was 1 month and 2 days late to register my car for getting to Colorado, like when I got to Colorado, because they said when they asked me, when do you become when did you become a resident? And I did not know that technically you become a resident 90 days after you've lived in Colorado. And I didn't put that. I put the date that I moved there. Yeah. And then when I went to go register my car, they logged that as me being resident from when I moved there, and I had to pay 2 months of fines for not registering my car, even though technically I wasn't a resident. I just wrote it down the wrong thing. I had an extra few weeks to do it, and then it's not for every month. It's for every it's not like 60 days they charge you for 2 months. It's if you're 1 month and 1 day, they charge you for 2 months.
See, that stuff makes me crazy.
That kind of shit drives me. So that's the stuff that I have fears I'm doing, or that, and then I tend to beat myself up about that.
I believe it's designed to be confusing.
It 100% is, because then they made me go get an emissions test that made, if I would have, my ADD ass would have like not followed up with that, I would have definitely put myself at made it take.
I love how
Susie, do you know how long it took me to return that Amazon pencil that you like? A long time, and I went to like 4 different places to return it because I didn't have the right place.
I totally just made you anxious on accident, and I did not mean to.
I'm like, see, that was one. It was like haunting me. I'm like, wait, what do I do with it? And like, I know I'm supposed to do something. It's like the little things and it's usually for somebody else. It's like the things
you don't want to let people down.
I don't want to let other people down, and so that stuff is the stuff that.
Let's breathe right now. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Let it out. Let it out.
Yeah. You're fine, Sarah.
Let's wind it down. My God.
Man. I mean, so much to talk about.
Really, though, because all of that was really interesting to me. I'm so glad you brought up that article about dreaming, because I loved that they wrote about it, but then I was like, I need more, but we won't get it because dreams are very mysterious and they aren't really sure what the hell they're all about.
Sure.
Anyway, Sarah's got to go because she's got to go leaf peeping any minute. And, well, she did give us bad news about rape victim or survivors.
The cost of sexual assault. Yeah.
God, that was bad news.
Mm-hmm.
And some fellas are getting surgery to be taller, which, hey, I don't blame him. Because I think there's all kinds of stats about how, like, taller guys make more money and, you know, have real advantages. So it's kind of like the boob job.
Doesn't matter to me, though.
Yeah, you love a short king.
I do. I love a short king.
Uh-huh.
It's the best.
Remember when I read that article about how tall Jesus was or what Jesus looked like? And I was like, he's our short Jewish king, man.
It's so great. How tall was he?
They said he was like probably 5'4" or 5'3".
He's a tiny guy.
Well, everyone was, you know, back then a lot shorter, but it's you don't picture that because
no, you don't.
You know, the way that they cast him in all the movies and stuff is like this white, tall,
not
surfer dude or whatever.
Yeah, right.
Petos, or is it Petos? No, it's got to be Peto's paradox, right? Petos.
Yeah.
And
about animals that are really
balls,
big, balls, man.
I am going to figure out some more info about human balls now.
Yeah, Susie's gonna. Adam, we're doing some research.
Get out the scale.
Yeah.
All right, people. Thank you for all the people who left us reviews, who bought merch, who are on our patreon.com/braincandy. It helps keeps the lights on and helps us to continue doing what we love, and we're so thankful.
Thank you to all you Brain Candy listeners who went over to This Changes Everything and have been listening to that and left me some good reviews on there. I saw those. I really appreciate it. And you guys are just the best. We love you.
See you next time.